An excellent speech, or if I may say so, Honorable Chair, an almost prophetic sermon hailing from the heavens above, teaching us mere mortals about the innocence, the importance, or the divinity of the Gandhian philosophy for world peace with relevance towards the South Asian countries. But forgive my blasphemy, Honorable Chair, forgive my blasphemy. These last few minutes or these last few speeches reminded me of what Dante had said in his book, The Divine Comedy. The darkest corners of hell are reserved for those who maintain their neutrality in times of moral crisis, and therefore allow me, Honorable Chair, to lead this House away from the false and utopian propaganda of the proposition towards the actual, factual reality. I therefore vehemently rise against the motion that, in the opinion of the House, in the current scenario, Gandhian philosophy for world peace is more relevant for South Asian countries. Honorable Chair, in the next 6 or 7 minutes or so, I will be giving 3 basic arguments that I hope would and should move the House away from the motion. But let me start listing them. Number 1, the Gandhian philosophy is a complex and complicated set and history of Mahatma Gandhi's works and words, and they cannot be applied to any heterogeneous or homogeneous country, let alone a group of countries called South Asia. Number 2, the Gandhian philosophy, even with its pieces and patches, will not and cannot lead us towards world peace. And number 3, most importantly, Honorable Chair, the belief that this philosophy, that the Gandhian philosophy, is more relevant in South Asian countries with regards, or other than, for the sake of example, the Americas or European countries, is a lie, is a false equivalency, and is putting upon us a burden that we did not deserve. Therefore, let me begin, Honorable Chair, with the very first argument, and with a very simple, a very childish question. Might I ask my proposition that do they know what Gandhian philosophy actually means? I'm sure a lot of them came up here and talked about what it means and gave information about some of the components. They talked about Sat, or truth. They talked about Ahimsa, or non-violence. They talked about Satyagraha. But there is so much more and so much more complex things related to it that they failed to touch upon. There was Swavlambi, or the topic of self-sustenance. There was the issue of self-reliance. There was the issue of passive resistance. There was the issue of restraint, which they did not touch upon when talking about the Gandhian philosophy, and that cannot happen. Because then, we need to understand whether we would be able to go ahead with Gandhian philosophy as a policy for a nation or a group of nations. Can we? Can the issue of Swavlambi, or self-sustenance, be sustained in a democracy that needs to have trades with outside countries? Can it be sustained without hampering the global village culture that we have sustained? Can a closed economy work towards world peace without engaging in any of commerce or any of inter-country relationships? Can they? Honorable Chair, we also need to understand, we also need to admit that Mahatma Gandhi was a brave man, Mahatma Gandhi was a very, very great man. But can we say the same thing about our governments or our policymakers? Can we say the same thing about India's government or Pakistan's government? Can we say the same thing about Bhutan's government or Nepal's government? Can we say the same thing about Bangladesh's government or Myanmar's government? Sure, Mahatma Gandhi had led a life of legacy through his works and words. But who would interpret that? Who would put that into action? Who would translate that into a policy that can work not just for the different people of one nation, but the different people of so many nations in South Asia with varied interests, varied needs, varied requirements, and varied visions? Honorable Chair, we need to accept that no, we cannot have one single philosophy be applied to all of these countries, because we do not have a code or a rule to know what each philosophy can be interpreted as. The other philosophies, such as communist philosophy, had a manifesto left by Karl Marx. The philosophy of pacifists had political parties in each of the countries they represented in, which are functioning today. We have, for the Gandhian philosophy, only the great history of the man himself, but not the man himself here to guide that policy, and therefore it is completely irrelevant and completely unlikely that such a philosophy can be applied to a group of South Asian countries, and therefore Therefore, it cannot achieve any global singular perspective, let alone the humongous task of world peace. And as I talk about world peace, Honorable Chair, I come to my second most important argument. That this Gandhian philosophy, even though it is wonderful, cannot achieve world peace. Honorable Chair, at the core, at the crux of the Gandhian philosophy lies the principle of non-violence, lies the principle of passive resistance, lies the principle of restraint. And history has shown us that every movement that have been built upon these principles have failed. Let me give you a few examples. 1839, USA, the Cherokee people. The Native Americans of USA were in their lands, peacefully, not troubling anyone, when the US troops entered. There were 14,000 people there. They decided to stay put on their land, trying to create a non-violent movement. You know what happened? In 2 days, 4,000 people were killed, and the other 10,000 people had to leave their lands by walking through a path which is now called the Trail of Tears. Another example, 1989, China. There were 10,000 people agitating for 7 weeks, demanding a reform in political status and the freedom of press. Did you know what happened? The Chinese government opened fire on all of them. 10,000 people died. An iconic photograph of one little boy standing against a tank blew up all across the globe, and the Chinese government refused to acknowledge such an incident happened. They said it didn't happen. The non-violence movement failed. Honorable Chair, there was a demand, there was a movement non-violent in Syria, and it failed. There was a movement non-violent in Libya, and it failed. There was a movement non-violent in Palestine, and it failed. We have seen again and again that non-violent movements have failed and faced with violence. We need to understand, we need to accept, and we need to wake up from this utopian lie that violence can be fought by non-violence. It cannot, it can only be fought by violence. Honorable Chair, the reason which Gandhian philosophy gained its momentum and its recognition was one very major victory. It was the victory of the Indian independence movement against the British colonial forces. It was a wonderful victory, it was a glorious victory, but let me remind you something, that coincidence does not equal causation. History books tell us that both the world wars were won, not by non-violence, but by an alliance of armies. The Nazi Germany was not defeated by 6 million non-violent Jews, it was defeated by an army. And similarly, Honorable Chair, the non-violent movement which had started the Indian independence movement in India was on the back of the British in the World War II losing all their resources, and they had no other option but to leave India, and that is why we gained independence, not because of non-violence movement. And coming to the third most important point, Honorable Chair, the country, our nation and South Asian nations cannot be told that they are more relevant requiring the Gandhian philosophy, because what happens to the other nations? What happens to the Americans or the Europeans who were responsible for 2 world wars? Who were responsible for creating risk in other countries and occupations? Who were responsible at the brink of starting a nuclear war because somebody tweeted something offensive? Honorable Chair, the responsibility of having Gandhian philosophy upon ourselves is a handicap. It's a handicap for South Asian countries against terrorism, against extremists, against separatists. Honorable Chair, when a terrorist comes upon our land and an army personnel is killed, we do not say that we will turn the other cheek and send another army man so that they can kill him and hope that the terrorists have a change of heart and have mercy. We fight back. And in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who himself said that a person who knows the truth and chooses to remain silent is among one of the greatest sinners, let this house believe the truth. Let this house, for the sake of that man's legacy, choose the truth, and let this house let the motion fall. Thank you.